We've got children who are traumatized. We've got child-headed households, kids of 9, 10. How dare we ask a child to head a household? If we can make our kiddies safe, then we must do that. And if it means ARV and a package, do it.
The host of Kaya FM's show Positive Talk, Griselda Kananda, has been living healthily with HIV without the aid of ARVs for over 7 years. Griselda believes in a holistic approach to treatment, and while ARVs have their place, she doesn't believe they are the most effective treatment to HIV. It's my turn.
I do have reservations on the way we've introduced antiretrovirals. We've introduced them as when you test HIV positive, if you don't have access to antiretrovirals, you die. When I was diagnosed with HIV, it felt like there's nothing else that could be done. And through reading and learning as much as I can, I've actually saved this precious life of mine and that of my child, because I was pregnant when I discovered my status. And I've never been on antiretrovirals.
Why do you think that ARVs are prioritized above other methods of treatment?
In my personal view, is that people have personal gains within the rolling out of antiretrovirals. Not much effort is put on what other options are available. It's almost like we ruled by the scientific way of managing HIV. And for me, that is unfortunate, because within South Africa, there's so much more, especially in Africa. There's so much more that we can teach the world. I think science, it's about time they really come to party and research on what spirituality does to an HIV positive person, what psychological well-being does to an HIV positive person, what nutrition does. Because for me, as a person living with HIV, it gave me hope that I don't have to really sit in a corner and wait to die. There's so much that I can do for myself. And that's the hope we've taken away from millions of people. You basically just need to live and live and live. That's all. Live.
It's not enough sometimes, Mary. You're not sick. You two are going to end up on Golden Pond in matching white knickerbockers.
Award-winning actor, director, author of In, Around, Through and Out, Blaise Koch, has been internationally recognized as one of the most outstanding intellectuals of the 21st century. When Blaise was told he was HIV positive, the diagnosis was terminal. After 7 years of ARV treatment, his life is more positive than it's ever been.
Well, on that positive note, let's go and view a sunset. Come on.
What proof have you seen as to how effective ARVs are?
Well, firstly, I have myself as proof. That I witnessed within 3 weeks of taking ARVs. I saw my own life return. And I certainly have witnessed first-hand cases and seen life return to the dying. Beyond that, I think it's a worldwide known fact that ARVs have given people the chance to return to society as productive, healthy human beings. There is no question in my mind as to their effectiveness.
How do you feel about people like Dr. Roth and other dissidents who are really opposed to ARVs?
It's absolutely absurd that we do not take what science has given us to control and monitor this disease and reject that. It's insane. It makes no sense at all. It's like rearranging the deck chairs on a sinking Titanic. There is no doubt this drug saves lives.
What's your message to people living with HIV and AIDS?
My message to them is to grasp this disease and turn it into the most positive thing that's ever happened to them. Because I know that one is creatively challenged by this virus to realize that huge gift called life.
Dr. Rasnick, let's start with you. Here is Blaise, who was at the end of his life, and he says that ARV treatment gave him his life back. How can you ignore the thousands of people that are living today because of ARVs?
All I can say is, who would you rather look like? That gentleman who took the antiretrovirals or that woman who didn't?
Let's go.
Can I answer that?
Dr. Letlape?
The gentleman who took antiretrovirals chose to live. and not to die, because he was in a late stage of his illness. That healthy, beautiful looking lady is in the early stages of illness. And for that stage, antiretrovirals are not needed and are not advisable. We have 5 million people living with HIV and AIDS. For more than 4 million, they don't need to be on ARVs. And healthy living. And, you know, basic advice from your traditional healers, people that have served you for ages before the Rath Foundation set foot here. Your grandmother, just living healthily, exercising, eating well, will keep it out. The key issue here, Mas Chaba, is that our people must test early. So that when you test early, and you're able to be put on life-saving regimens, not drugs, but lifestyle management. And at that point, vitamins are important, proper foodstuffs are important, healthy living is important. But when you get to the late stages...
Dr. Letape says, Professor Mhlongwa, that, you know, the treatment that we have had all along, traditional medicine, the advice of our grandmothers, are we following that? Is the traditional medicine being looked at in the same light as Western medicine?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think the evidence runs counter to that. The medical profession does not seem to encourage alternative therapies when it comes to the question of AIDS. I actually advise traditional healers via ICSA, which is the retention and the maintenance of traditional knowledge systems based in Pretoria. And we're building a huge place in what was called Flag Plus to help traditional leaders. I'm deeply involved in it, and I don't think it is correct to say that lady is healthy, that's why she doesn't need this. The Durban Declaration in the year 2000 by people who support this HIV hypothesis said that within 5 years you go down with full-blown AIDS. Now that is 7 years.
Dr. Zane, why is that? Why is it that we are not giving traditional medicines the platform to see if they will work?
So, you know, Master Chaba, we must start somewhere else. We must start with an understanding of HIV as a disease. It's a virus that causes an infection in the immune system that progressively leads to the decline of the immune system. And once there has been a decline, then the significant weight loss and the resultant opportunistic infections. We know from studies done in Uganda that an average of 11 years is the non-ARV lifespan of an individual who's infected with HIV. That means that there's a wide range. Some people, the disease will go faster, and for others, the disease will go slower. We know that there's a pre-heart stage from a treatment point of view where we can do many things for people. Most of them are psychosocial, support, counseling, holding people well in their environment. And vitamins, sure, I agree with that. There's a position probably also for complementary and alternative medicines within that. However, once people have advanced and signs of opportunistic infections start emerging, then we need to move on to ARVs. And I don't believe, so your question was, why do we not entertain complementary medicines? Well, we need the evidence to really support their treatment. I have my own grants, in fact, in traditional medicines, and we've applied for funding with the National Complementary and Alternative Medicine Center in the United States for the study of complementary medicines. To date, however, the problem is that medicines such as Sutherlandia lead to significant drug interactions with our ARVs. We know ARVs save lives, so how can we combine the two at the same time?
Well, I'd like to know where you get the evidence from. Here's what, that these drugs are life-saving, the antiretrovirals. Here's what Glaxo says about its nucleoside analog, Xiagen. At this time, quote, "At this time, there is no evidence that Xiagen will help you live longer or have fewer of the medical problems associated with HIV/AIDS," end quote. Merck is no more encouraging about its protease inhibitor. Quote, "It is not yet known whether Crixivan will extend your life or reduce your chances of getting other illnesses associated with HIV," end quote. The disclaimer that comes with Boehringer Ingelheim's Viramune, which South Africans know better as nevirapine, reads, At present, there are no results from controlled clinical trials evaluating the effects of Viramune on the incidence of opportunistic infection.